Hello, and welcome back to Homework Hustle, the podcast that delves into the science and art of raising curious, confident kids and to better their academic development without the stress. I am Shubda, the founder of Brainology.
Hello, and I'm Sheetal, the co-founder of Brainology.
And we are here with yet another episode of Homework Hustle. Today's topic is a little different. We are taking you, the parents, back to school. So, we at Brainology come across so many parents who say that when we sit down to teach our children, we sometimes struggle to explain things in a way that they understand. We don't know how to explain so that they understand and remember. So we said, hey, hold on. We have done so much of how to teach your child this and how to teach a child that. Perhaps it is time to talk to you about what science says about learning in kids. The idea is to empower and not burden you with knowledge, so that you can use this information to be more effective when you do simple learning activities for your child. Okay, so science is, science. It is complex. Therefore, we have gone through a lot of effort with this podcast to simplify everything into as simple words as possible without using any scientific jargon. And we sincerely hope you will find it useful.
Yes, Shubda, I do hope so too. Most experts agree that a child's development is contributed more by the exposure at home than by school. So I'm really glad we have done this session.
Right. So let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with ABC. When you learn, you begin with
knowing, remembering, thinking.
So let's start with knowing.
So Shubda, from a very young age, even before birth, children are actively trying to know the world around them. They're constantly trying to make sense of the world around them. This process involves constructing more and more advanced understanding of the world in their mind by building something like a model in their mind.
So essentially what you're saying is that these models are like building blocks. And this is how they are developing their understanding of the world by adding to this block. So how does this process unfold in early years?
So children build these models through what we call experiences. Using these experiences, they try to build up a picture of the entire world around them.
Okay.
We always say, oh, my little one is so curious. They're either asking questions, breaking things, digging into things, emptying out drawers.
Oh, yes.
To see, they're very nosy little characters, to see what is there inside. All this, they aren't being nosy. They are trying to build a picture. They're not out to bother you. Don't take yourself so serious. What happens is, let's say a child encounters a new toy. They try to make it a part of the existing knowledge.
Right. And in their existing knowledge says that this is a toy.
Correct. If a toy looks similar to another toy that makes a squeaking sound, they will assume this will also make a squeaking sound.
Okay.
They will try to get that sound out of it, maybe banging it, squeezing it. However, if it does not make that sound, they now have added new information to their mental model, a more advanced understanding that, okay, it's a toy, but it doesn't make a sound.
Right.
In this way, they go on refining this mental model into a better and better knowledge of the world around them.
That's fascinating. You know something, Sheetal? You have just somewhat described how parts of artificial intelligence really works.
Really?
Yes. Okay, so moving on. How does this stage evolve as a child grows older?
Yes, so these stages are fundamental and continue to evolve with age. For younger children, learning is very sensory based. They need to engage all their senses. They need to see, they need to touch, interact with objects to form these mental models. As they grow older, this process becomes more sophisticated.
Right. Essentially, they are touching, they are seeing, they are hearing, and all this is building up
To put it in their mouth.
Ah, right. So all senses.
Yes.
And all this is actually going on to build a picture in their mind.
Yes.
Okay. So if building these models in their mind is how children learn, now is my pertinent question, what does it mean for parents? How should we build this science into our home environment? And let's break this down by age group.
Okay.
So how should parents approach for children in, let's say, in the early years, say up to 2 years of age?
Yeah. So learning begins as early as when the child is conceived. As I said, in the first 2 years, they are building these models using their senses. Learning happens through direct sensory experiences and motor or physical activities.
Right.
Now, therefore, if you tell a child about an apple, you need to show the child that
That's how they're making a connect.
let them touch it, maybe even taste it, smell it. These interaction is essential for them to form a clear mental understanding.
So connect with their senses. So at this point, I'm imagining an environment or a play environment where they're touching or seeing a lot of things. Is that right?
Correct.
And that is
Correct.
what is developing them.
Absolutely.
Okay, understood. How do we now this to the preschool age, around 2 to 5 year old?
From 2 to 5, children enter the next stage of their development. They start to develop symbolic thought, meaning they can use words or images to represent objects in their mind.
Okay.
If I say apple, they can now understand what an apple is because they have stored that memory in their mind. Remember, you showed them an apple. However, they still focus on one aspect of a situation at a time.
So we can't be talking many things about the apple.
No.
Right.
And then focus learning. They're also very egocentric. Little children, little egos, big children, big egos. They're very egocentric, which means they can only see from their perspective, their standpoint, and not from the other person's standpoint. So at this stage, practical hands-on learning is still very crucial.
That sort of explains that sometimes even when you tell them, don't do this, it will hurt you, they can't understand that I feel, it's going to hurt me till they try it and they experience it.
Absolutely. Use concrete examples, hands-on activities. If you're teaching about shapes, use physical objects that they can touch and manipulate. When explaining concepts, use language they understand and what they can relate to their
own experience.
For example, if explaining that not all four-legged animals are dogs, use real-life examples they can see or interact with what is around them, maybe a cat.
Oh, an animal that they have seen.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so if they have not seen or experienced, they cannot relate. Understood. Now we go to higher ages. How should parents adjust their approach as their children grow older? Let's say we're talking 7, 10, 12-year-olds. How does that work?
No, that's really difficult. As children enter the next stage around 7 to 12 years old, they are now getting good at thinking logically, which was obviously not the case earlier. Their mind also begins to understand. They observe advanced mathematical concepts intrinsically, such as volume, numerical quantity, or mass.
So you're saying these are things now that is intuitively understood by them. And also, before this age, they may not have been logical.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because there was a lot of sensorial learning.
Sensorial. So maybe cause and effect comes later.
It comes much later, around this stage. They also become better at seeing things from somebody else's perspective.
So now if you tell them this won't work, they'll probably understand.
Now if you say that don't cycle too fast, you'll get hurt, now they will understand. So at this stage, it's better that we engage their logical thinking and their problem-solving skills, using puzzles, activity books, everyday situations to teach concepts. For example, when doing math related to real-life scenarios, like shopping, cooking, fraction is best taught in kitchens. Allow them to explore and make mistakes. And very, very important, ask open-ended questions that prompt them to think and explain their reasoning.
So, for parents' sake, give me some examples of open-ended questions.
Yeah, so very pertinent example and very mundane example, you can say. If I tell my child that you're getting X amount as pocket money, and if I were to increase it by 50 rupees, how best would you want to spend it?
Right. Okay. So they have to work it out, and then they have to make sure that that extra 50 gets added up.
Correct.
Right. All right. So it's about fostering an environment where they can apply their learning to
Your voice. Yes.
Right.
Exactly. Good job, Shubha. At this age, children can recall information and jog their memory. So the addition happening and how I'm already spending and how best I can maximize. Instead of giving them answers directly, provide clues and guide them to find the answers themselves. This not only reinforces their learning, but also builds confidence in problem-solving abilities.
Okay. So while finding the right answer may be one part of the learning, essentially you are saying it is more important to be able to work out what steps will solve the problem, irrespective of whether they get the answer right or wrong.
Exactly.
That's really insightful. Now, as a parent, how do you balance being involved in your child's learning without, being overbearing? Because I can visualize a situation where, suddenly the parent is trying, trying to apply all this science and the child is suffering.
Yeah, so it is important to be involved, but also to give them space to explore independently with your newly found knowledge and information. At 5 years old, you might need to be more hands-on.
So at that stage, be involved.
Yes, showing them how to do things. By 10, you can take a little step back, offering guidance when needed, but allowing them to solve problems independently.
And importantly, like you said, even if they make a mistake there, it's okay.
It's okay. Encourage the effort. The effort always needs to be encouraged. Success needs to be celebrated. Confidence is something that needs to be built.
Gradually shifting from direct environment to an environment which is supportive, but where you're not doing the work.
Bingo. The key is to be a guide and facilitator rather than just giving instructions. It's good if we can encourage exploration. Let them know it's okay to make mistakes, as this is a crucial part of the learning process. So one never fails. One either learns or succeeds.
Right. And on that insightful note, this episode comes to an end. Hope you found this slightly different episode where we delved into the science of learning, and I hope we were able to simplify for you. So try it, and you could always write back to us and let us know how it went for you. Thank you, Sheetal. Parents, as usual, if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you are notified when a new episode is posted. You can also visit our website www.brainology.com. That is brainologi.com to see the kind of learning books we have for your child. You can also follow us on our Instagram handle Brainology1. It is an educational but a chilled out space for harried parents. And lastly, please do share this podcast with your friends because that's how podcasts grow. Bye-bye. Until next time.